In Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, the Hydra is a huge monstrosity of challenge rating 8. It has an AC of 15 and 172 hit points, and has both a land and swim speed of 30. It has a +5 to strength, a +1 to dex, a +5 to constitution, a -4 to intelligence, a 0 in wisdom, and a -2 in charisma, making it a strong and hardy creature with a bestial intelligence and reasoning. It's described as a reptilian horror with a crocodile body and multiple heads on long serpentine necks. It has the ability to hold its breath for an hour, which indicates that while it is aquatic in movement, it does not live underwater. It also has a trait called multiple heads, which is the source of its power. The Hydra starts out with 5 heads, and while it has 2 or more, it has advantage on saving throws against being blinded, charmed, deafened, frightened, stunned, or knocked unconscious. When it's dealt 25 or more damage in a single turn, one of its heads dies. At the end of the Hydra's turn, it regains 2 heads for each head lost in this way, unless it's taken fire damage since its last turn. For each head it grows, it regains 10 HP. For each head the Hydra has above 1, it gains an extra reaction that can be used for opportunity attacks only. For example, with 5 heads, it can do up to 5 opportunity attacks. In addition, as long as it has more than 1 head, it is never considered fully asleep, as at least one of its heads always acts as a lookout. In terms of actions, the Hydra can only make 1 bite attack per head. On the surface, the Hydra appears to be a simple creature that is underwhelming considering its size and the legend from which it gets its name. I've seen many people in forums talking about how it should be similar in danger to a dragon or other massive monsters, but its distinct lack of special attacks makes it weaker by comparison. I personally believe that this thought process does not take into account some of the more clever options that are available to all creatures, as well as the environment in which you can place your monsters. As a DM, I would situate a Hydra in an area with deep water and land, as the creature clearly breathes air but can swim. A place like a cavern with a deep pool or lagoon, for example. In combat, I would have the Hydra, which has a basic beast intellect, ignore the fact that it has a multi-attack in the first round. Instead, I would have it target a player and take the grapple action in lieu of attacks, using its massive strength advantage to grab a weaker player. Once it's grabbed a player, have it dive into the deep water nearby, holding its breath, and use its full movement to drag the target underwater. Since it's a huge creature, its movement is not encumbered by having a medium player character in its clutches. Once underwater, the player captured will have 30 seconds to a few minutes to surface before they start to drown, which might cause panic in your other players. In addition, the player remains grappled unless they break free from the massive Hydra. At this point, the Hydra has all the advantage against the player it snatched, and the rest of the party. The Hydra has a creature beneath the water that it can attack with advantage multiple times on its turn. In addition, if this player escapes the grapple and flees, they are still in grave danger. The Hydra can take as many reactions as it has heads to make free attacks against this fleeing creature, whose movement speed is likely going to be halved because they are underwater. Players that are trying to get to their ally are similarly slowed down by being underwater, and most martial attacks will be at disadvantage against the Hydra for the same reason. At this point, the party will be in the Hydra's domain, at a severe disadvantage, and scrambling to save themselves and their ally. Beyond this, the strategy is to simply attack creatures as they come close, or close the gap underwater and attack as you see fit. In Grecian myth, the Lernaean Hydra is a serpentine monster with multiple heads that makes its lair in the Lake of Lerna in the Argolid, which many myths state is the entrance to the underworld. In the oldest version of this myth, it is said to be the offspring of the serpentine giants Typhon and Echidna, and had poisonous breath and blood so powerful that even the smell of the creature could kill a mortal man. Later versions of the tale add in the regeneration properties in which it can regrow its heads. For every one chopped off, it regrows 2. As part of Heracles' 12 labors, he was tasked with slaying the Lernaean Hydra, and did so with help from his nephew Iolus. Together, they cut off the beast's many heads and used torches to cauterize the wounds, preventing the Hydra from regenerating. Interestingly, the Hydra also has many parallels in Near Eastern religions. In Sumerian, Babylonian, and Assyrian mythology, tales were recorded of the war god Ninurta slaying a 7-headed serpent that could regenerate while traveling through the mountains. When comparing the D&D monster to the myth, we find that they're very similar. The descriptions of the beast vary slightly in that the Hydra sometimes has a reptilian body and many serpent heads, and sometimes is just a mass of snakes connected to a single snake tail. The abilities of the D&D Hydra fall in line with the later versions of the myth, with regenerating heads and an aversion to fire. The ability to hold its breath for an hour likely comes from the original legend that places it in the Lake of Lerna, which further supports the fact that when out of water, it's a boring, easy encounter, but inside a lake or other body of water, the fight turns deadly. If you enjoyed that video, consider giving it a like and giving me a follow. And for more of my videos, you can find me on Twitch @Moglaroo, YouTube @Moglaroo Streams, and TikTok @Moglaroo Streams as well.